Depp v. Heard review. As docuseries give voice to the already loud influencers, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard become test subjects for content creators. Since we already know what transpired after the events of this documentary series, the series ought to have been a step ahead of us rather than far behind. After deciding to divorce in 2016, Hollywood actor Johnny Depp engaged in a series of court disputes with his ex-wife Amber Heard. In their most recent legal dispute, Depp prevailed. The documentary series discusses the tension in the courtroom, the cultural movement that a disagreement between a husband and wife created, and the after-effects that neither of the two persons directly engaged benefited from outside of the court hearing. Even though I was watching Depp v. Heard from India, I already knew practically everything there was to know about this case and the publicly broadcast trials. As a result, the makers chose to show around the main conflict rather than letting the audience guess what would happen. Because if you watch the trials as they were happening, you already know about Kate Moss' major twist and how the stairs will be mentioned. Amber will charge Johnny with sexual assault with a glass bottle and other things. So what specifically do Emma Cooper and a group of talented individuals have to offer that is novel? It is not overstated to say that Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard and the concluding defamation suit became a societal movement, as the series depicts. More than the two people fighting one another directly, it was the fans who were at war. While the show succeeds in getting it right, it never goes any further into the fan culture that was supporting not a movie but a man who had been proven to be a wife-beater, and a woman who had made some outrageous accusations. The show instead opts to dig into the world of content producers and influencers who made millions of dollars simply by reporting on and discussing this issue. There is nothing wrong with bringing them up and demonstrating the impact Depp v. Heard had on the community. However, the show eventually stopped having its own voice and began stealing it from the aforementioned content producers. Just like in the real world, it was they who were in control of the story. Giving voice to those who are already vocal is equivalent to this. It's a documentary series that claims to be objective and educational. However, this one just comes out as a collection of viewpoints with no real organization or purpose other than to chat. As a result, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard appear to be zoo animals confined in human captivity, while content producers profit from their antiques. The two never start to act like rival humans, but rather more like characters from a poorly written movie. You never know. Where credit is due, when Depp v. Heard decides to transport us to the period when Johnny Depp and Amber Heard first fell in love with one another, things start to get interesting. The first time they kissed, the book and music they first discussed, and the reason this stunning woman fell in love with a man 20 years her senior. When you can see them beyond the conflict they are involved in and realize they were in love once, and this isn't just a legal war of defamation but also past lovers. But unfortunately, that is one redemption amid a pool of noisy influencers. Depp v. Heard would have been an excellent subject matter if the narrative had been told with more complexity and focused on Johnny and Amber. Even though it is acknowledged that their love was intense when it first ignited, two gray people are battling. What a fascinating story that would have been. The series should have been a step ahead of us and not far behind, as we already know what transpired after the events of this docuseries.